home life, school life? Is there a balance? All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Teaching Fabulously with Felicia. I'm so glad that you decided to come and join me again as we take this adventure, okay? But today I wanted to talk about home life and school life as a teacher. Can we have a balance? Well, I'm here to let you know you sure can. Do you find yourself taking home that work bag, trying to work on stuff while you're watching TV in between the commercials? I know y'all do. I've done it too. But let me let you know, you have to have a balance, okay? You have to have a balance because school, teaching, it can't take over your life. Like I mentioned before, just making sure that you take care of you and that you do some self-care. I know I talked about earlier. I don't know how many teachers out there are like me, but at the beginning of this school year, I would bring my work bag home, work on things out my work bag, trying to grade papers, trying to do lessons, whatever it is, trying to, prepare. I'm always working on my class, my school, getting things ready for my babies. And I just, I'm so excited because I love teaching. That is such a huge passion for me. So I would find myself bringing my work back home and all that. And then I realized that my husband I was not giving him the attention that he needed as far as when he got home, entertaining him, just talking about his day. I would greet him at the door, but it would be, hi babe, okay babe, all right, dinner's on the stove, okay, I'm working on my schoolwork. And I realized that my husband wasn't really going for it, you know what I mean? Because I would spend a lot of time into schoolwork. And so I realized that I have to create a balance because if I don't, school takes over. There's always something to be done as teachers. You know that. There's always something that can be done, that you can work on, that you can get prepared for. There's always something that you can do. However, like I said, I realized that I have to have a balance. School and home. After my time at work is over, I realized that my time needs to be focused on my family. So right now I don't have any kids, but I do have one, my little dog Smokey. That is my pet baby, okay? I love my dear Smokey and I will do anything for my Smokey. So I realized, there has to be some type of balance because I wasn't taking my dog out, doing things with her, wasn't playing with her because I was so focused on getting my work done, which it took over my life. And I realized that I can't do it like that. It's just not gonna work, okay? So one thing that I have done to help me create some type of balance. So the first thing that I do when I get to work, I create my to-do list for the day. Things I need to do at school. So if there's still papers I need to print off or run off or whatever the case is, if there's a book that I need to take off the shelf so that I can read that for my read aloud, whatever the case is, I have an idea of what I need to do with my to-do list, okay? And then I try to, as much as possible, check off my to-do list item by item, okay? And then what I try to do, I try to set a time to how much time this item is going to take, how much time this item is going to take to get complete so that I know I don't overestimate how much time, or underestimate rather, how much time is needed for a particular task. That's what I do at school. And I realized that I need to apply that same principle to my home life to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do for home, So when I get home, I prepare a to-do list of what needs to be done for the day. So if I need to wash clothes, that's on my to-do list. Cooking dinner, that's a given. But if I need to fold clothes, if I need to go get something from the store to add to dinner, I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I put that on my to-do list at home. So that really helps me to stay organized and to create some type of balance. Another thing that I have to do, just to kind of help me to stay in balance so that I can have, organized life, because without it, my life is just kind of like all over the place. So one thing that I do, I know that my school, we're wrapping up the school year, and we're coming closer to the end of the school year, which means report cards are due soon. Okay, so one thing that I do, really, most of the time closer to report card time, is I try to, take my bag home, my work bag home. I know that I mentioned about my work bag staying at the door, but report card time is the time that I kind of put in more time into my schoolwork. Just a little bit more time, not too much more, but just a little bit more time into my schoolwork, so that I know that my things at work are complete and that, I'm doing everything I need to do for my work. So I do take my work back, and I do work up until dinner. And then from dinner time up to about 8 o'clock, that is how much time I put into working on report cards, grading, whatever needs to be done. I give myself a cutoff time. So once 8 o'clock hits, I shut off everything. Laptop goes in the bag, everything goes back in the bag, right at the front door. And that way, that just gives me some time that I can spend a little time with my husband before it's time to go to bed and do it all over again. So that's one thing that I do closer to report card time. And sometimes when I hadn't had a chance to grade those papers during my break when my kids go to specials. So I try to do that, but I try not to do that too often, because I realize that I have to have that balance, okay? So those are two things that I do to help me out, so that I'm making sure that I have a balance between home and school. So the first Sunday of every month, I spend the entire day, as much time as needed, planning out what I'm going to be doing for the entire month across the curriculum. So I'll be doing. So not necessarily lesson planning, but having my topic, having my standards, having my ICANN statements. That's what I try to do the first Sunday of the month. And when I do that, I create a newsletter for my parents so that they have an idea of what to look for and what to expect at the end or at the beginning of the month, the entire month. And when I tell you, this helps out so much. This helps me so much, because every week I kind of have an idea. Okay, so I'm doing this, this is what I'm covering, so that when it's time for, those lesson plans, for me to work on those lesson plans, it's a little bit quicker, it's a little bit easier. And I've also talked to my parents to see how this works, versus me creating a weekly newsletter per se. And my parents, they love it. They love the monthly overview, because that gives them time to practice with their students, to do extra work. If they see that, during the week, graded papers getting sent home, or they're struggling here, and I might mention that to them, that, hey, I need you to practice this skill at home with your child as I'm practicing it at school. And that has helped tremendously. I keep saying it, but it has really helped. So the last thing that I would recommend or suggest, or one thing that I do, is I know when to turn it off. And that might be something that you might need to do, is just turning it off, leaving the work bag at the door, and just being able to spend that quality time with your family, or that alone time by yourself. Because sometimes you need to spend that alone time by yourself, where you can kind of just regroup, get your thoughts together, figure out something that you like to do, that you enjoy. And I know I mentioned this before, but it's about self-care. The job will be there. Those kids, they'll be there. But you may not be there if you are stressing and, putting so much on you that you're not focusing on yourself. So it's all about, knowing when to shut it off so that you can have a balance.